Well, good morning, welcome back to the channel. It's nice to see you guys, hope you're all doing well. As you've probably noticed, I've got the helmet on, I'm on the bike. I've come up to a different place today. This is the woods just between Sevenoaks and Borough Green. Well, I've got the sound of a helicopter cutting in across me at the moment. It's just heading off into the distance behind you guys. I hope it's not interfering with the sound quality too much, but I think it's definitely going away now. Yes, as I was saying, I've come into the woods, and this is a nice bit of old woodland, and it's between Borough Green and Sevenoaks in Kent. It's only about 7 miles from where I live, but you can probably hear there's a road. The A25 is about sort of 400 yards behind where you are at the moment. Hopefully that you won't be able to hear it, but just in case you do, that's what it is. And I've come up here today. This isn't normally where I come to, but I've come up here because I've got some nice colour. It's autumn work colour, and it's a bit late in the season, or at least autumnally. It's a bit late because a lot of the leaves are actually on the ground now, but what that gives us is quite a lot of places where the leaves are still on the trees, but only a few of them, and that gives some quite interesting sort of options here. I'll spin you around and I'll show you the sort of thing I'm showing or thinking of or trying to think of. I need to capture it. I'm hoping I'll get a decent shot out of this. It's a case of surrounded by so much and actually picking out something to make a subject from. Almost chaos, but I'm doing my best. I think I might have got a nice little scene set up here. I've got the camera on the tripod as ever because the light levels aren't wonderful in here. It's a bit gloomy, overcast day, which is giving nice even lighting, but the light levels are really quite low. I'm probably at about ISO 400, maybe 800. Let's have a look on the camera. ISO 500. And what I'm using is the 100 to 200 lens, which is about equivalent of 80 to 160 in full frame format. And what I've got is, I'll show you the pictures that I'm hoping to frame up here. So what I've got on the back of the camera, which you probably can't see for the sake of reflections, there are 3 branches coming out across the track here at about the same height as the camera above the ground, and maybe about 20 meters in front of the camera. So just there, sticking out from that tiny piece of sapling sticking out of the ground with that oak tree, beech tree, I think it's a beech tree behind it. And what I'm liking is the trunks of the trees in the distance sort of dropping through the frame, as you can probably see here, and then horizontally I've got these small branches with these leaves on, which I've got the focus set on the actual, oh, it's gone off again. I've got it set on the actual branches in the foreground, and I want the background to be out of focus. Yeah, I actually want the background to be out of focus. This lens has a shallow depth of field. I could focus stack it, but I'm not going to. I just want to be at about f8, f10, something like that, and just get all of the leaves on those branches that are crossing in front of the camera, the ones crossing the frame here. I want those to be nice and sharp, and it looks like they are. So we're at f9, 12th of a second, ISO 500, aperture priority, and I think that's what I'm going to go for. So let's get that one. So that's got that. Let's have a quick chimp on the back, and yeah, that's nice and crisp, and the trees in the distance are actually out of focus. As I was saying, the trees behind it are nicely out of focus, which is the effect I'm looking for. I'm looking around now to see what else I can get a shot of, and something just over there to your, well, behind where you're standing now. I'll walk you over. This tiny little sapling sticking up again with these beautiful golden browny sort of orangey leaves on it with flecks of yellow in it coming up, and it's got this old gnarled silver birch tree next to it here. And what I want to do is I just want to get probably a pano and a very narrow shot across that, so that I'm framing sort of this sort of area. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll see if I can actually set that one up. Okay, I think I've got the shot lined up as I want it. What I've gone is for quite tight in on the silver birch, and where one of those orange or little branches with the orangey brown leaves crossing it here, with the tree in the background slightly out of focus. I can show you here. I'm actually against the sky, so it's got blinkies going on here because I'm blowing out the highlights, which you might not be able to see. You can see blinking. I don't mind that. That's inevitable. I've wound up the exposure compensation to bring the colour up and the light on the tree trunk and also those leaves there, and I think that's quite a pleasing image. So I'm manually focusing this because it is, even at f16, there's hardly any depth of field. In fact, it's probably a matter of a few inches at most. So I focused on this lower branch here. I'm going to get that shot. Luckily there's no wind, it's only a 1/6 of a second. Having said that, it just moved. Hopefully it's sharp enough. I'm at ISO 500, I might go up to 1000. And let's see, what have we got? 14th of a second, that's probably just about enough. It's a bit of a tall order, but just as I'm talking, the wind's moved it. That's not helping, so let's try again. A 2-second timer is all well and good, but you've got to judge 2 seconds in front of when it might be still, which isn't always that easy. There we go, that's relatively stationary. I'm just going to take a second shot here with those leaves in focus properly as well. And again, we're at f11 here, so 13th of a second, ISO 1000. So I'm hoping when I get back home I can combine those images. I've had limited luck, actually, to be honest, combining images of things that move. I've used Photoshop, I've used Helicon Focus, and it's not always come out quite as I'd hoped. Nice images, but technically not quite right. And that might be what happens with this one, but we don't know until we get back and give it a try. But I must admit, the GFX's lenses and the GFX100S itself, I'm struggling with depth of field because with that 100 to 200 lens, there's virtually no aperture that I can get any significant depth of field compared to my Sony full frame, which I never really worried about. I'm really struggling with this. I'm having to take multiple shots on many occasions and blend them together to get the effect I'm wanting. So this might be another case of that happening. Anyway, we won't know until I get back. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'll have a look around. I'm not sure there's much else here. I've taken a couple of other shots which I didn't vlog. More experimental than anything. I'm finding it difficult. There's almost too much here. There's just too much to see. It's like a form of snow blindness. It's difficult to know what to look for. And what I tend to do when that happens is I'll concentrate on something quite small, almost macro, a very small area of the frame, which is why I've got the longer lens on. With the 32 to 64 and the 23mm lens, there's just so much in the frame. It's boggling how much information is there, and I'm not sure I'm framing anything up very well with those wider lenses here today, but I'll put them up in a minute. You can have a look and judge for yourself, and please put comments in the section below. I always appreciate comments, and don't forget to give a thumbs up. And that probably is me winding up from here for today, so hope you're all doing well, and we'll see you on the next video. Well, I've found another shot, and it's nothing stunning, but it pleased my eye. I was just walking back towards the car with pushing the bike, still got the camera on the tripod, and I just walked up onto this scene. Let me explain what it is I'm seeing here. It might not be obvious, but I think it makes quite a nice shot. So let's spin you around. What we've got is this silver birch on the right with these branches crossing the track. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's basically 3 groups of branches: a lower set, middle set and higher set. And then coming in from the bottom left of the frame, there is that one branch that's strangely split into 2, and both of those branches off it come across the track, forming an arch over the track. But what I like is those 2 branches actually fit between the 3 sets of yellow leaves on the right hand side. So showing you the back of the camera, what I'm actually trying to achieve is I've got the focus on the near leaves on that the branches here, and they're beautifully sharp and pin sharp, and then everything in the background, including that sort of Y-shaped tree branch, is obviously out of focus, which is really what I want. But what I've done is, and I can't quite get the tripod high enough, is I wanted these two branches to fit into the gaps on the right hand side of the image here, between the branches that have got the leaves on. And I pretty much achieved it. I could go another 6 inches high or 5 inches, something like that, but I haven't got a means of doing that. And I've pinched the legs on the tripod together, and I've got it on its centre column, so it's a bit precarious, but that's the shot that I'm quite pleased to have. And what I'm going to do is just 7.1. I want the background to be out of focus. I'm only at f7.1, ISO 800, and we've got 30th of a second. Luckily the wind isn't blowing much, so let's get that shot. Lovely. Let's have a look. Oh yes, that is exactly what I wanted. So that's another one in the bag. So I think now I will head back to the car, go home, process the images, see what we've got. Anyway, a second time in this video. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next video.